What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel for yet another Battlefront 2 video. Today we're covering Chewy, and I'm gonna be honest, I had to completely change this video as I was recording the gameplay. I was thinking that Chewy was primarily a heroes versus villains character, and after using his new and improved Furious Bowcaster, I'm a changed man. I think Chewy can be whatever the hell you want him to be. If you want to use star cards to improve his shot grenade, you can do that, and that is a very heroes versus villains move, to have his shot grenade just improved as much as possible. Or if you want to get all your star cards and put them into his Furious Bowcaster ability, then you will be a very deadly opponent for all the trooper based game modes such as Supremacy and Galactic Assault. So I guess without any further introductories, here is Chewbacca. Well, y'all know me, I'm a sucker when it comes to the best star card, and pretty much always start with that one. So today it's going to be bonus health for Chewbacca, because starting off at 600 hit points is just tough. Chewbacca has a big hitbox, basically meaning if you shoot anywhere in his area, he's going to take damage. He's just a big target. So you want as much health as possible. And that goes for any game mode. If you're playing trooper-based game mode, Supremacy, Galactic Assault, Rush, not Rush, the hell, I don't know what that was. Pretty much anything though, heroes versus villains, it doesn't matter what game mode you're playing, you want him to have that extra 150, bringing him up to a total of 850 health. It's just a better card all around. It's something that you shouldn't really ever consider taking off. It's something that should always be kept on him. Now, the other cards where you've got some leniency, those would be the ones that improve his shot grenade ability or his Furious Bowcaster. The one set of star cards I kind of stay away from, even now after he's been just completely changed up, is his Charge Flame ability. I just think it's not really worth going and putting an entire card into his slam. Like, yes, it does a good amount of damage, and yes, you're going to get health back from killing people because it's usually a one hit for the troopers, such as Officer, Assault, and Specialist. But for the big troopers and for heroes, or for villains, for example, when you're trying to kill them, you're going to do a solid chunk of damage, but you're most likely not going to kill them with the Charge Slam ability. So it's worth going into the shot grenade or the Furious Bowcaster. This next one is also a pretty big one, Echoing Roar. This is the Furious Bowcaster card, or one of the ones that I recommend you put on if you're playing those trooper-based game modes, such as Supremacy and Galactic Assault. You're going to want to, basically every time you get a kill, you get 45% of your Furious Bowcaster back. So do you see the little, I guess, what is that, octagon? I'm too lazy to count. Pentagon. I don't care. The little thing that keeps flashing yellow. That is telling you how long you have before that ability dies, regardless if you're shooting or not. When you shoot, it goes away faster. But if you shoot and it fully disappears, but that shot that you fired has killed an enemy, you regain 45% of it back. So then you just need to go kill an enemy pretty quick to keep it going. And you see it keeps going up right now because I have my Furious Bowcaster ability active, and I did have that card on because I'm in a trooper-based game mode. Now, this is another card. I'm not going to read it just because there's a lot there. But basically, you gain 2% damage reduction every time you deal 200 damage or more to a person. So let's say you're using Furious Bowcaster on Count Dooku, and you hit a headshot, but he doesn't die. You've definitely done 200 damage to him, so you gain 2% damage reduction. Now, it does stop at 34%, but that on top of Chewbacca's maximum health increase card, he becomes a tank. 34% damage reduction plus that extra 150 health that you add from that star card for maximum health. He's going to be hard to kill, that's for sure. And this one I don't necessarily recommend if you're playing heroes versus villains, because you die a lot more, and when you die, this ability does reset, so you'll have to get back up to 34%. But if you're playing, let's say, Supremacy or Galactic Assault, because those are the two big ones, then you can go around, get kills, do 200 damage, whatever you need to do, get up to that 34%, and then you don't have to worry about dying as frequently because you have that 34% damage reduction and you can stay alive a lot longer. It's also a lot easier to get back up to it. Let's say you do die in that game mode. Those troopers right there, I'm shooting at a Droideka, and And that right there, I gained 4% damage reduction because I hit him twice for over 200 damage, or 200 exactly. And it's kind of hard to keep track in your head of exactly where you are damage reduction wise. Just know that if you hit a headshot 9 times out of 10, you have then gained 2% of that damage reduction towards your 34. And I usually start thinking that around 20 to 30 kills, that's when you're at that 34% total. Now, it's not exact because it depends on if you hit headshots or not, or if you're doing charge slam damage. That's another thing, is it's charge slam. That will do 200 damage regardless. It doesn't matter if you kill them. It does, like, if there's 4 people inside of there, you've done 200 damage to each of those 4 people, so you've gained 8% damage reduction because it counts from each person that you do 200 damage to. So definitely a card worth considering in those trooper-based game modes. But again, it's just a personal decision. If you want to go with a Furious Bowcaster ability and the maximum health increase, that works too. I used to do that all the time. Alright, and then we've got this star card right here. It's the other one that I like to use with the Furious Bowcaster ability that extends duration. This one just allows you to take more damage while the ability is active. You gain 20% damage reduction. So, like I said, you just take less of that damage. Let's say you get hit with a headshot, normally that deals 200 damage. Now you're only going to get dealt 160 or whatever. I can't, for some reason, do math in my head, but that's a good one if you want to hyper focus on the Furious Bowcaster ability, because that mixed in with this extended duration, you could potentially have that 20% damage reduction for a very, very long time. Especially since even once you lose Furious Bowcaster, let's say it goes all the way down to 0 and you have to wait for it to recharge, it does recharge quite, I guess, moderately fast. It's not as fast as other abilities, but it's definitely faster than some recharge abilities. I think even his shot grenade takes a little bit longer than the Furious Bowcaster to recharge. One thing I do recommend, though, is while you're playing as him, let's say you rely pretty heavily on Furious Bowcaster. If you're in an area like I was just a few seconds ago where there's not a lot happening and there's no sign of anyone coming to attack you anytime soon, I say disengage your Furious Bowcaster. That way it's not running down automatically and it can get up to its full potential faster. So it'll recharge all the way, get you back up to 100, and then you can start killing enemies again once they get close. It's just a little thing that I've noticed does help me stay alive and get score streaks going on just a little bit longer. But it is a moderate thing, so if you forget to do it, it's not a big deal. Just try and form little habits like that, where if you're not fighting anyone, let your abilities recharge, and then you could use them once people get close again. Now this next one, Extended Shock, I usually only recommend if you're playing heroes versus villains. It's just that the shot grenade isn't the best star card in my opinion if you're playing the trooper-based game modes, ones where they don't have quite as much health as the heroes and villains will. It just adds shock duration and like how long someone will be paralyzed while they are hit with that shock. So how long I guess they're just going to stand still and allow you to shoot them. Now there are ways to break that that little shot grenade if you are on the villain side. I've seen most people don't seem to know about it, but there are ways to get out of it if you do get stuck in that. So to me, it's just not really the best star card, but it is useful enough to use in heroes versus villains. And then finally, for the last star card that I just honestly feel like is worth going over is the MultiShock, where the shot grenade basically just splits off into 4 pieces, well, 4 additional pieces. I'm quite honestly not sure how much it splits into by default. I believe it's 4, but don't quote me on that. It basically just covers a wider radius and can shock more people within that radius. So again, I only really use this star card when I'm playing heroes versus villains, because that shot grenade freezing people with lightsabers is very useful if you were trying to shoot them from a distance or even shoot them up close and you don't want them to be slashing your brains out. You're definitely going to want to have that shot card on. And again, the maximum health card is the one that I just don't recommend you swap out regardless of what game mode you're in. Pretty much keep it on at all times and you'll be set to go. The two, just to summarize, the two that you should have on trooper-based game modes are the Furious Bowcaster abilities or the damage reduction. And then the damage reduction I don't recommend ever for heroes versus villains. Then the shot grenades I don't really recommend in trooper-based game modes, but I do recommend for heroes versus villains. So if I left anything out for Chewbacca, or I guess really anything that you think I might have missed, or any strategy you want me to go over, let me know in the comment section down below. But that is pretty much going to do it for this video, so I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smack that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.